You are the host of The Shadow Behind You, a storytelling channel where forgotten bloodlines, cursed institutions, and vanishing families come back to haunt us. Your narration must be deeply immersive, atmospheric, and chilling. In this episode, we explore, as 1867 Missouri Ozarks, the chilling case of the brothers who poisoned travelers' cups. Write a long-form video script of approximately 10,000 words with the following structure. 1. Introduction. There is 1,000 words. A slow, suspenseful opening that immediately grips the listener. Set the tone with vivid imagery, foreboding atmosphere, and a hook that makes them curious about the dark tale to come. 2. See main narrative part. 2,000 words. Begin unfolding the story in detail. Introduce key characters, places, and events. Use atmospheric language, suspense, and tension building. 3. Main narrative part. 2,000 words of deepen the story conflicts, haunting events, or mysterious elements. Layer in chilling moments and vivid descriptions that keep the audience engaged. 4. Historical, cultural context. 2,000 words. Explore real history, legends, or background that support the narrative. Make it educational yet eerie. Blend fact and folklore to create a sense of unsettling authenticity. 5. Deeper analysis and thematic exploration. 2,000 words. Discuss the symbolic or psychological aspects of the story. How does it connect to universal fears, cultural trauma, or human nature? Maintain an ominous intellectual tone. 6. Conclusion. 1,000 words. End with a chilling summary or lingering question. Leave the audience haunted by the story. Ensure the closing lines echo in their minds. Of style guidelines. C. Maintain a dark, eerie atmospheric tone throughout. Use rich, descriptive language that appeals to the senses. Blend narrative storytelling with historical depth. The pacing should feel immersive, as if the audience is uncovering forbidden knowledge. Write in a script format suitable for narration, spoken word. The script must total approximately 10,000 words, balancing narrative, context, and analysis. Thought for 42. The Shadow Behind You. Episode script. Introduction. The soft, eerie music fades in a low hum of wind through ancient trees, distant thunder rumbling like a warning from the heavens. Your voice begins slow, deliberate, each word dripping with shadowed intent. Welcome, dear listeners, to The Shadow Behind You. I am your host, the keeper of forgotten whispers, the one who unearths the bones of history's darkest secrets. Tonight, we venture into the mist-shrouded hollows of the Missouri Ozarks, where the hills rise like the spines of buried giants and the rivers carve paths through stone as old as regret itself. The year is 1867, a time when the Civil War's echoes still reverberate through the land, leaving scars on the soil and souls alike. Men and women, weary from battle and displacement, traverse forgotten trails in search of new beginnings, only to find endings more final than they could imagine. Imagine, if you will, the creak of wagon wheels on a rutted dirt path, the air thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Twilight descends, painting the world in shades of bruised purple and ink black. A traveler, cloak heavy with road dust, spots a flicker of lantern light through the trees, a humble cabin promising shelter from the encroaching night. 2 brothers, Elias and Jeremiah Stillwell, stand at the door, their faces etched with the hollow gauntness of men who have seen too much. "Come in," they say, their voices like rustling leaves. "Rest your bones. We've fresh water from the well and a cup to quench your thirst." "But oh, listener, that cup, that seemingly innocent vessel of relief, what lurks within its depths? Not mere water, but a silent killer, a poison that seeps into the veins like fog into the valleys. Travelers sip, unaware, and the shadows claim them. Bodies vanish into the earth, fortunes pocketed, secrets buried deeper than the roots of the ancient oaks. This is the chilling case of the brothers who poisoned travelers' cups, a tale of greed wrapped in hospitality, of murder masquerading as mercy. As we delve into this narrative, feel the chill creep up your spine, the way the Ozark winds whisper warnings to those who dare listen. Why did these brothers turn their home into a tomb? What demons drove them to taint the very essence of life? Water itself, with death. and what lingering curse might still haunt those misty trails today. Stay with me, for in the telling, we uncover not just a story, but the shadow that follows us all, the one born of human frailty and the darkness within. Let us begin with the land itself. The Missouri Ozarks in 1867 were a wilderness untamed, a labyrinth of karst caves, rushing springs, and dense forests where sunlight struggled to pierce the canopy. The Civil War had ravaged Missouri, a border state torn between Union and Confederate loyalties. Bushwhackers, guerrilla fighters like those led by William Quantrill, had left trails of blood and burned homesteads. In the aftermath, refugees, prospectors and opportunists flooded the region, seeking lead mines, fertile valleys, or simply escape. Roads were scarce, trails treacherous, and isolation bred desperation. Into this void stepped the Stilwell brothers. Elias the elder was a man of few words, his eyes like chipped flint, hardened by years in the Confederate ranks. He had fought at Wilson's Creek, seen comrades fall like autumn leaves, and returned home to find his family's farm in ruins. Jeremiah, younger and slyer, bore the scars of a different war. One fought in the shadows, smuggling goods across lines, his smile a mask for cunning. Together, they rebuilt a dilapidated cabin along the old wire road, a vital artery connecting St. Louis to the southwest. It was no grand inn, but a weathered structure of logs and chinked mud, with a stone well out front that promised cool respite. Travelers came, families fleeing Kansas border raids, miners with pockets of silver, merchants hauling goods. The brothers offered bed, bread, and that fateful cup. Drink deep, Elias would murmur, handing over a tin mug dipped from the well. The water tasted metallic, perhaps from the minerals in the earth, or so the victims thought in their final moments. Arsenic, odorless and tasteless, dissolved seamlessly. A gift from the brothers' hidden stores. Convulsions followed, masked by the night's silence. Bodies dragged to shallow graves in the surrounding woods. But whispers spread. A wife wondered why her husband never reached Springfield. A son searched for his father, last seen heading toward the Stilwell cabin. The disappearances mounted, a tally of the lost that grew like vines overtaking a forgotten grave. Sheriff James Whitmore, a grizzled Union veteran from Webster County, heard the rumors in taverns and trading posts. "Something ain't right in those hills," he'd say, his pipe smoke curling like specters. As the moon rises higher, casting silver light on the twisted branches, we feel the pull of the tale. What compelled these brothers? Was it the war's bitterness, turning brother against brother in more ways than one? Or something older, a curse woven into the Ozark folklore, tales of water spirits that demand sacrifice, of poisoned springs guarded by vengeful ghosts? Hold your breath, listener, for the shadow is drawing near. In the pages of history's ledger, this case remains cold, unsolved in the annals, but alive in the nightmares it inspires. Tonight we resurrect it. We pore over the faded reports, the yellowed letters, the oral histories passed down like heirlooms of horror. Prepare yourself for immersion into a world where trust is the deadliest poison. The cups are filled, the tale begins. But remember, in the Ozarks, the past never truly dies. It merely waits, lurking in the well's dark depths, ready to quench a thirst you didn't know you had. Now, let us step into the heart of the story, where the mist thickens and the air grows heavy with unspoken dread. It is spring of 1867, the Ozarks awakening from winter's grip. Buds unfurl on dogwood trees, streams swell with meltwater, and the trails buzz with the footfalls of the hopeful and the hunted. The old wire road, scarred by wagon ruts and hoof prints, winds through Webster County like a vein through flesh. Here, nestled in a hollow ringed by limestone bluffs, stands the Stilwell cabin, a beacon for the wary, or so it seems. Stilwell, 42 years old, cuts an imposing figure. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a beard like tangled briars and eyes that hold the storm clouds of Pea Ridge battlefield. He had enlisted with the Missouri State Guard, fought under Sterling Price, and watched as the Confederacy crumbled. Returning home in 65, he found his parents dead, father hanged as a sympathizer, mother succumbed to fever, and the land barren. The war took everything, he'd growled to Jeremiah, his voice a rumble like distant artillery. But Elias was pragmatic. He saw opportunity in the chaos. Travelers needed rest. He could provide it for a price. Jeremiah 38 was the charmer, lithy and quick. With a scar across his cheek from a knife fight in St. Louis, he had avoided the draft by running contraband saltpeter for gunpowder, whiskey for morale. His laugh was easy, his hands deft at cards or poisons. "People are fools, brother," he'd say, mixing powders in the dim light of their shed. They trust what they see. Together, they transformed the cabin into a way station. A sign creaked in the wind. "Rest and refreshment, Stillwell Bros." The first victim, or at least the first recorded, was Harlan Cobb, a prospector from Illinois. March 15, 1867, Cobb arrived at dusk, his mule laden with tools and dreams of lead veins in the hills. "Hot day," Elias noted, offering a seat by the fire. Jeremiah poured the water, the cup gleaming innocently. Cobb drank deeply, complimenting the sweet spring taste. By midnight, cramps seized him. "Bad food," he gasped, but the brothers knew better. Arsenic worked slow at first, then vicious. They watched as he writhed, then stilled. His body, stripped of coins and a gold watch, was buried under a sycamore tree, the earth swallowing him whole. More followed. A family of 4, the Millers from Kansas, stopped in April. The parents sipped the tainted cups, the children spared, perhaps out of some twisted mercy, but left orphaned and wandering. Jeremiah spun tales. They moved on at dawn, but the woods held their secrets. The poison was procured from an apothecary in Marshfield, labeled for rat control. Mixed in the well or directly in cups, it ensured no mess, no gunshots to alert passers-by. Tension built as spring turned to summer. The brothers' coffers swelled. Wallets, jewelry, deeds to distant lands. But greed bred carelessness. One traveler, a former soldier named Thomas Reed, sensed something amiss. "Water tastes off," he muttered, spilling half. He survived the night, but fled at dawn, spreading word in the next town. Those Stillwells, eyes like wolves. Sheriff James Whitmore enters the scene here. A man in his 50s, with a limp from Shiloh and a mustache streaked gray. Whitmore patrolled Webster County from his office in Marshfield. Reports trickled in missing persons, last seen near the Stillwell Hollow. Could be bushwhackers, his deputy suggested. But Whitmore, with a nose for foul play honed by years chasing deserters, rode out. The cabin loomed, smoke curling from the chimney like a serpent's tongue. "Evening, Sheriff," Elias greeted, his hand resting on a hidden knife. Jeremiah offered water, untouched, of course. Whitmore declined, eyes scanning the grounds. Fresh-turned earth caught his gaze. "Heard tales of vanishings," he said. The brothers shrugged. "Trails are dangerous." But as Whitmore left, a chill settled. He knew shadows when he saw them. The killings escalated. By midsummer, the tally neared 20. A merchant from St. Louis carrying banknotes, a widow with heirloom rings, even a preacher, his Bible left open to psalms as he convulsed. The brothers rationalized. War made killers of us all. But nights brought dreams, ghostly figures rising from graves, cups overflowing with blood. One chilling incident. The case of Eliza Thorne, a young woman traveling alone to join kin in Arkansas. She arrived rain-soaked, accepted the cup gratefully. As poison took hold, she whispered curses, her eyes locking on Jeremiah. "You'll see us in the well," she gasped. That night, thunder shook the cabin. The brothers swore they heard splashing from the depths. Listener, feel the oppressive heat of that Ozark summer. The cicadas drone like accusatory whispers. The brothers' isolation deepened, paranoia blooming like nightshade. Elias paced, rifle in hand. Jeremiah mixed stronger doses. But the net tightened. Whitmore gathered witnesses, mapped disappearances, all pointing to the cabin. As party draws to a close, the stage is set for revelation. The shadows lengthen, the cups gleam ominously. What horrors await in the unfolding? Stay immersed, for the poison spreads. Deeper we descend, listener, into the abyss of the Stillwell brothers' depravity. Summer of 1867 wanes, leaves turning crimson like spilled blood. The old wire road sees heavier traffic. Refugees from Indian Territory clashes, fortune seekers drawn by rumors of gold in the streams. The cabin becomes a maw devouring the unwary. Elias and Jeremiah refine their method. No longer just the well, they lace cups with precision, targeting the wealthy. Look for the gleam in their eye, Jeremiah advised. Greed recognizes greed. One victim, a banker named Silas Grant, carried a satchel of bonds. He sipped, joked about Ozark hospitality, then clutched his throat as fire spread within. The brothers buried him deep, but not before Jeremiah pocketed a locket with a child's portrait, a rare flicker of remorse, quickly drowned in whiskey. Haunting events multiply. Travelers report apparitions, pale figures by the trail, beckoning with empty cups. One group camping nearby heard moans from the woods, dismissed as wind, but unease lingered. The brothers themselves grew haunted. Elias woke screaming. Claiming hands pulled him toward the well. Jeremiah, ever the rationalist, blamed bad dreams, but his hands trembled when drawing water. Enter the turning point, the arrival of the three survivors, August 12, 1867. A party of 5, 2 brothers, their wives, and a cousin from Iowa, bound for Texas. The Stillwells welcomed them warmly. Cups were passed, all drank, but fate intervened. The cousin, allergic to something in the brew, vomited immediately. Suspicion arose. As cramps hit the others, the survivors fought back. One brother, a burly farmer named Isaac Hale, overpowered Jeremiah, binding him with rope. Elias fled into the night, gunfire echoing. The survivors, weakened but alive, staggered to Marshfield, alerting Whitmore. Poison? Hale gasped. In the cups. The sheriff rallied a posse. 10 men, lanterns bobbing like will-o'-the-wisps. They stormed the cabin at dawn. Jeremiah, defiant, spat curses. War made us monsters, he snarled. A search revealed horrors, shallow graves unearthed, bones gleaming white. 23 bodies, some mere skeletons, others fresh enough to identify. Elias evaded capture initially, vanishing into the hills like a ghost. Legends say he lived feral, haunted by visions poisoning streams in madness. But Whitmore tracked him. September 3, in a cave overlook, Elias was cornered. End it, he begged, cup in hand, self-poisoned. Reports conflict. Some say he drank his own brew, others shot resisting. The trial in Springfield was a spectacle. Jeremiah, chained, recounted their descent, war's poverty, a discovered arsenic vein in their land. It called to us. He claimed, eyes wild. Convicted, he hanged October 31, Halloween, fittingly ominous. His last words, the well remembers, but mysteries linger. Not all bodies accounted for. 73 entered, per ledger scraps, only fragments found. Whispers of a curse, the well said to be bottomless, a portal to underworld. Post-trial investigators drank from it, untouched. Yet fell ill, blaming suggestion. The cabin burned, arson suspected. Yet ruin stood, drawing curiosity, seekers who reported chills, unseen touches. One, a journalist, vanished. Cup found empty nearby. Listener, taste the bitterness now, the way poison lingers on the tongue. The brothers' tale isn't just murder, it's a mirror to the soul's dark wells. As part-eye fades, the echoes remain. To fully grasp the chill of the Stillwell brothers' deeds, we must unearth the soil from which they sprang, the historical and cultural bedrock of the Missouri Ozarks in 1867. This region, a rugged tapestry of plateaus, springs, and hidden caves, was no mere backdrop. It shaped the men and monsters within. Post-Civil War Missouri was a cauldron of chaos. As a border state, it endured brutal guerrilla warfare. Union and Confederate forces clashed at battles like Wilson's Creek, 1861, where Elias purportedly fought. Bushwhackers, irregulars like Quantrill's raiders, terrorized civilians, burning farms and executing sympathizers. The Ozarks, with its isolated hollows, became a haven for outlaws. Jesse James, a real contemporary, hid in these hills, robbing trains and banks. The Stillwells, fictionalized here but inspired by such figures, embody this lawlessness. Economically, the Ozarks boomed and busted. Lead mining drew immigrants. Trails like the Old Wire Road facilitated trade but invited predation. Poisoning wasn't uncommon. Arsenic, readily available for mining or pest control, featured in many crimes. Historical records note hospitality killings, innkeepers murdering guests for goods, akin to Scotland's Bean Clan or America's Bloody Benders, 1870s Kansas, hammering victims, perhaps an influence on the legend. Culturally, Ozark folklore weaves eerie threads. Scotch-Irish settlers brought tales of fairies and curses. Native American Osage legends spoke of water spirits. Underworld guardians demanding tolls. The bottomless well motif recurs. Springs like Maramek believed portals to other realms. Poisoned waters echo real events, like contaminated streams from mining runoff, causing illnesses mistaken for curses. Oral histories preserve such tales. In Webster County, elders recount ghost wells, where drinkers see visions. The Stillwell legend, amplified in modern media, blends fact. Real Stillwells existed. Genealogies show families in Ozark County mid-1800s, some involved in skirmishes. Amos Stillwell's 1888 murder in Hannibal's unrelated but names similar adds intrigue. Blend fact and folklore. Post-war trauma bred paranoia. Isolation fostered madness. Educational yet eerie. Imagine sipping from a spring, wondering if ancient grudges taint it. The Ozarks' authenticity unsettles. Caves hold prehistoric bones, rivers hide Civil War relics. This context makes the brothers' story not anomaly, but symptom of a haunted era. Beyond the narrative surface lies profound depths, symbolic, psychological layers that connect the Stillwell tale to universal fears. Let us analyze, with an ominous lens, how this story mirrors human nature's shadows. Symbolically, the poisoned cup represents betrayed trust. In folklore, cups signify communion. Here, perverted into death. Water life, giver becomes taker, echoing biblical poisons or Greek myths like Medea. The well symbolizes the subconscious, deep dark holding repressed horrors. The brothers' acts reflect post-war PTSD, Elias's battlefield scars manifesting as murder, Jeremiah's cunning as survival instinct gone awry. Psychologically, greed and isolation dominate. Freudian views see the brothers as unchecked, primal urges in lawless wilds. Cultural trauma, Missouri's divisions bred, brother against brother, literalized here. Universal fierce hospitality's inversion taps stranger danger. Vanishing evokes existential void. Thematically connects to human darkness, how environments corrupt. Ozark's ruggedness amplifies isolation's madness, akin to Heart of Darkness. Gender dynamics victims like Eliza highlight vulnerability. Lingering question, are we all one cup away from poison? Ominous tone, this tale warns, the shadow behind you is your own potential for evil. As our tale unwinds, listener, the Missouri Ozarks mists reclaim their secrets. The Stillwell brothers' legacy, a poisoned chalice passed through time, leaves us haunted. Summarizing in 1867, greed turned hospitality lethal, dozens perished, justice partial. Yet questions linger, does the well still whisper? Walk those trails, sip cautiously. The shadow behind you, it thirsts. Remember, some cups are best left untouched. Until next time, beware the offered drink.